So this is an upper track. We're going to install, I'll show you how we're installing this on the top of the carriage. We have a mock carriage where we do our testing here at Goodgate. It's all set up here. So the track comes, upper track comes like this. You can see there's some holes for mounting it into the top of the carriage here. There's some other holes off the top here that the Z brackets come off to provide support for the upper track. So this all comes together with some self-tapping screws up here, and then the screws for tying into the ceiling of the car depend on what your ceiling is made of, whether that be melamine or plywood or something else. We don't know, so you have to supply those. So we're going to stop here and then we're going to take a look at an installed one at the top of the carriage here. Right, so this is a track that's installed on the top of the carriage. This plate here is not typically part of the supply. If you have a carriage ceiling that's all unlevel or out of plane, then we can supply those plates. They're called a leveling plate, and you can see there's some hardware here to level it to front to back and also side to side. That would be an optional item. We put it on in this case because the piece of wood we have this attached to in our simulated carriage is actually bowed a little, so we needed it in this case. Most plywood is pretty flat, and if you're building square cabs, then perhaps you don't need it. If you do, just contact us and we can certainly send you a plate. So once you have the track up on the top of a carriage, all you're going to do is basically line up the front of the track with the front edge of the top of the carriage, and you want it to sit a little bit proud of that front, but not very far. So you basically just use that front line, and that should be good. Once you have that in place, you basically take your screws and you put them into the top of the carriage. Now these Allen head screws are used on this leveling plate, but typically you can just use a regular wood screw, depending on if it's melamine or plywood, to install this, and then you just make sure that it is lined up with the front of the car. Once you have that in place, you basically attach your Z brackets here. There's 2 self-tapping screws for each bracket that we supply. We tend to supply 3 brackets. You can see there's 2 screws for each one. And then again, there's a slotted space back here for, again, tying back into the top of your car. You notice that there's a slot here, and that slot is actually there to allow you to tilt the front track a little bit forward or back to make sure it runs really smoothly. We're going to get to that at the end, but that slot is quite important to make sure you get good performance and easy sliding back and forth of the gate.